purple. We're going to use some of the strategies that we just addressed with the whole shading technique. So for number one, I'm going to start by just putting tick marks by the angles that I'm actually focusing on, which are 5 and 6. And now I'm going to highlight wherever those tick marks are touching. And I see a stick figure leg, so I know that this is going to be alternate exterior. So the classification would be alternate exterior. Okay, so the next one, number two, I'm going to highlight the two angles. I'm going to get out my highlighter. I'm going to shade wherever the tick mark is touching. And now I see the letter C. So I know this is going to be same side interior. Number three rather, which I'm focusing on angle 9 and angle 10. Put tick marks there. Going to get my highlighter. Now you might not see it right away, but if you rotate your head a little bit, you see the letter F, and F is for corresponding angles. Okay, number 4, angle 7 and angle 8. Get out the highlighter. Let's see. Highlight, 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 highlight. Now this looks a lot like number 1 to me with the stick figure feet, the little feet. So this must be same side exterior. Interestingly enough, that's not what I put for number 1. I put alternate exterior. That's wrong. This should be same side exterior. Okay, glad I caught that. Number 5, angle 1 and angle 2. Using my highlighter to shade, and what I see here is is that a Z? Yeah, that's a Z. So Z is alternate interior angle. Alternate interior. Okay, and then number 6, we focus on angle 7 and angle 8. Highlight, 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 highlight. Now it's upside down, but I do see an F, and an F is corresponding. Corresponding. Okay. Number 7, we focus on angle 3 and angle 4. We're going to highlight this, we're going to highlight that, this, and that. And here I'm seeing the broken X, and the broken X is the alternate exterior. These are on alternating sides of the transversal. Back to number 1, these were on the same side of the transversal where I had initially made that mistake, which I did on purpose to see if you were paying attention, of course. Number 8, angle 11 and angle 12. Switch to my highlighter. Shade, 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 shade. This is an F lying down, or it's rotated. It's rotated. So this is an F, so this is corresponding. So I can't stress to you enough the use of putting tick marks around the angles that you're supposed to be focusing on, and then highlighting, and these shapes just jump off the page, whether it's a broken X or a Z or a C, and it just makes it very easy. So on the next quiz, bring your colored pencil, bring a highlighter. Okay, I'm going to conclude this lesson on 3.3, angles formed by transversals, with these two questions. And when you look at them, they look very similar, but they're very confusing for kids. If angles 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles, then name the transversal and the two lines cut by the transversal. So every year I've put this question on a quiz, and a lot of students end up getting it wrong, and I don't like to see that, so I'd like to try to help prevent that from happening. So if we use some of the strategies that we've discussed in the first portion of the lesson, the first thing that I'd like to do is just highlight the two angles that they're having us look at, which are angles 3 and angle 6. And the claim is that those two angles are alternate interior angles. And they want us to identify the transversal and the two lines. So I'm going to get out my highlighter and use the same process that we've worked with. This tick mark here, the upper portion is touching this diagonal, so I'm going to shade it. This upper portion is touching line segment AC, and this portion is touching BD. Now we see the Z, so we're pretty reassured that these are in fact alternate interior angles. Now, if you want to, what I've also found helpful is if you extend the shading beyond the scope of the diagram, it might be just easier to see. So I'm going to extend this and extend this. That wasn't the best line, but now it kind of looks like a lot of the diagrams on the other page. So hopefully it's just jumping off the page at you. What are the two lines? So I think it's going to be line AC and line BD cut by line BC. So BC is the transversal. Okay, so let's try it again. Here they have us looking at 2 and 5. So I'm going to put a tick mark by 2 and a tick mark by 5. I'm going to get out the highlighter. I'm going to, I don't know if that took. I'm going to try it again. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to highlight this. And I'm going to highlight this. So what's interesting is the two diagrams looked identical when we started, but the way that we're shading them, they end up looking really different. When I offer the suggestion to shade, sometimes, or extend the shading, sometimes students don't know where to extend. And I'm talking about the regions where the two shaded parts are intersecting. So if we just extend that a little bit more, sometimes this helps. So here's where these guys are intersecting, so I'm going to extend that a little bit more also. And now if you kind of squint your eyes and just look at the orange and rotate your head a little bit, it looks a lot like all the other problems that we've seen so far. So the two lines that are being cut this time are AB and CD, and they're being cut by line BC. So just look, the answers are in fact different, but if I put one or the other of these on a quiz, students will often answer it in the opposite way because they don't bother to shade. So if you bring a colored pencil or you bring a highlighter and you just shade those angles, it's just going to jump off the page just like the orange markings are jumping off the page.